I'm Eric Lang. I'm the game director at CMON, and we are going to unbox Cthulhu Death May Die. This is the first time I've unboxed the game, actually. I've had looked at many production lines, copies, but never off the production rack. So let's have a look at what's inside. Tell you a few little stories while we're doing this. I hope you backed this. I did. So we got our wonderful box cover here. Their nice laminate finish here. Cthulhu Death May Die. This game went through a couple of names, actually. This was not the original name of the game, but it's my favorite implementation of the name. We had a couple other names which I'm not going to tell you about, but this one's cool. Game design, of course, by Rob Davio and myself. It's our first collaboration. We famously, I think I've said this so many times that it's become a trope. It's a game about shooting Cthulhu in the face. But it's more than that, of course. You've got to stop an unspeakable ritual done by cultists that bring greater elder ones into this world and shoot them in the face. But chances are you're going to die doing that. So we got the dashboard for our 10 poor doomed investigators in here, wrapped nice and tight. So tight. I think 2 or 3 years ago. So the more I'm using the story, the worse my unboxing skill becomes. To the point where we're gonna have to cut this. I'm gonna open this with my teeth, and you're not gonna put this on video. Oh, fun. Oh my God! All right. I remember, like 2 to 3 years ago, when we were conceptualizing this game. The first thing it came up with was like a whole bunch of investigators. What were cool ideas for investigators? There wasn't even a game yet, but just had really cool ideas and bios for these interesting, crazy, unique, idiosyncratic, murderous, armless. Secret story to this, the kid is actually modeled after the daughter of our executive producer, Mr. David Preddy. And, I mean, what's Cthulhu without nuns? So, quick story. One of the turning points in this game, when Rob and I were talking, we had designed a bunch of the game, and we were like, this is kind of cool. But we were like, how are we going to do all these episodes? How are we going to do these modular pieces where you're going to choose what episode you play, you're going to choose what god you play, and we're going to try to use a whole bunch of combined components in order to play all of them. At one point, I don't remember which one of us was said, like, why combined components? Custom everything. Every episode is different. And then I remember we were at a convention, we started drawing a picture of a box that looks something like this. These episodes, like every episode contained by itself. You want to play the unspeakable hour. This is episode 6. It's pretty complex. Usually recommend start with 1. I want us to play the unspeakable hour, and we want to summon Haster. Take those two. Pull out your nice punch board, which I'm going to open right now. Samuel Jackson would just come in here and punch me in the face. Plastic. Composure. Why? Open this up. Got this, all of our modular boards that are going to make up the 6 different episodes. Good dry plastic, no place here. Oh wow, these come apart nice and easy. There's the ballroom that's featured in episode 2. Come on. Oh. This is sometimes my favorite part of the game. I have so many games that I've just been punching out. Sometimes I go to a friend's house and people are like, oh, I gotta unbox the game. I'm like, what? Give that to me. I'll punch everything. Very nice stair tokens here. Goodbye. We have our health tokens here. We have a whole bunch of all these other modular board pieces. We actually spent time, we were like putting up together a matrix of combinations for how can we make the most different table presence style of layouts with only 3 punch boards. And that intersection just came to this really, really sweet, really sweet middle ground of just awesome looking layouts. Inside the episode, back to the main course. So every episode, right? This is the Unspeakable Hour, episode 6. I'm going to spoil a little bit for you here. It's cool. Every episode has, of course, the monsters that are unique to that episode. It has a punch board of components that are only going to be used in this episode. So after we punch these out, we play the episode. The expectation is you put everything back in the box and you just put it neatly back in here. So when you want to play another episode, just pull it out here, pull out a new god, you're ready to go. It also has, of course, the episode box, which has and they're all unique, right? They all have how do you beat the episode, what's going to happen to you every time the Elder One advances, always bad, spoiler alert, and the usually really cool, unique, custom mechanics that are only in this episode. That was one of the things that really excited me about this game, because you get the feel of, my co-designer, Rob Davio, you know, kind of games he makes, to get the feeling of those kind of games, but without having to tear them apart all the time. You can put everything together and play it again. But you still get this cool, like, real discovery of, like, when I play this episode, I'm playing as different a game I can while still playing with the rules of Cthulhu Death May Die. There's Mythos cards that are only for this expansion. And there's the Discovery cards that are only for this. I'm calling it expansion. I should be saying episode. And of course, we'll be playing with Hastur. I mean, here's the prize, right? Eyes on the prize. The Mythos cards for Hastur. So I would put these with these, shuffle those together. That's going to be the Mythos deck for this episode. Every combination is a completely different story. Hastur's cards. I'm not even going to open these because I don't want to spoil all the cool, all the extra horribleness that Hastur will do to you. You'll have to play that yourself, figure it out. Hastur's own yellow sign tokens. And of course, the piece de resistance. Hastur himself. For those of you who don't know, CMON is an acronym for Cool Mini or Not. It's where we started. And of course, this is where we came from. Look at these. Love these. Oh my god, these actually look cooler than the STLs that we had on our computer. So, fair warning, I've seen like resins, I've seen everything that we've done for this game up until this final production copy. I'm a little, oh my god. So, one of the things that we're always we're concerned about when you're transferring from resin to plastic is the loss of detail, of course, right? I mean, take a look at that. Like, it's ow. That's crazy. Well, it's Hastur. Of course, Madness cards. One of the cool things about the game, of course, is that in addition to every investigator feeling very different on their own, they have these Madness cards. This was one of the very original premises of the game, right? There are a lot of great games in the Cthulhu mythos where like you are investigating, you're trying to stay out of danger, and stuff. But this one, we're like, no, head on. We've already gone through the Necronomicon, the Cultist Ghouls, all those books. We decided to just grab as much power as we can, which of course has already driven us mostly mental. Well, here we are. Everybody's going to start with a special madness, right? So like codependency, mix that with your character, which now the cool thing about these, of course, is that every madness card will go off at particular points. So like codependency, you pick another character that you're codependent with, and if you're ever far apart, when it goes off, you have to travel to them or they have to travel to you immediately, or you're going to take sanity loss. One of the cool things about these is that if you if you play around your condition, if you play strategically, you actually can use it to your advantage, because these guys are just that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say badass on TV, but that's what I'm saying. So we have some monsters in here. Of course, I would be remiss if I wasn't saying, like, that, if I was not to tell you that monsters were not one of the main reasons we did this game. Of course, I wanted to do a game based on the Cthulhu Mythos with a whole bunch of really, really cool plastic representations of monsters. Look at these guys. Like, don't you want to run from these? Well, you don't have a choice. You have to fight them. Of course, they're going to drive you mad. All right. So we have all this, and of course we have. You guys want to see Cthulhu? Yeah, you want to see Cthulhu. Thought I was going to only open one, but I can't resist. Can't resist. So I know that everybody who's looked at the campaign has seen our giant size Cthulhu, who is many of you have them by now. In the game, this is there is another Cthulhu. This is him in all his glorious, crazy, tentacled, porous detail. And the star spawn. Hello. This is merely a star spawn. Miniatures, of course, by Studio McVeigh, who are amazing, and I don't know how they continue to outdo themselves, but they do. I'm just off camera here, going to take the tape off here, and hopefully I don't throw everything across the table. So here, of course, are the investigators in true final form. There's Rasputin. Oh, dead again. This guy in particular, Rob and I argued about for months. I was convinced that this guy just had to be able to die. Well, the whole point is that he dies many times and then comes back to life. It was an absolute bear trying to get it to work in the game, because it didn't work like any of the other investigators. Like his special power is just to die. Like, well, of course, because the game is so based on such sacrifice that I want to make somebody that like your goal is to die. You want to get in there, jump in the fire, jump under the Shoggoth and get killed, but you're back because it's Rasputin. Anyway, we found a way, but it took months of arguing back and forth, back and forth. Thank you, Rob, for your patience and allowing me to insist that we had to keep him in the game. Of course, we have our dice here, which went through many versions, of course, in the game. You know what? So one of the level of detail that we argue about is unbelievable. So we went back and forth, both Rob and I, Marco Portugal and I, the developer, Tiago Rani and I, the producer, in these triangles. We argued over the colors of these dice forever. We went for every possible color scheme for what's intuitive, what reads well, what looks cool, what colors inside. We go the distance in these games, but we finally ended up with regular dice, bonus dice. Regular dice, of course, one of the things about this game is you don't have to look up a stat and see what do you roll. It just says roll. And you roll 3 of these, and sometimes you want to get bonus dice. Subtle little design decisions, of course, in here. When you roll, you obviously are looking for exclamation marks for successes, but of course you can take sanity loss, you can get elder signs. In these bonus dice, which you always want to collect, there are no madness dice, so you don't have to worry about some weird decisions about, do I want to get bonus dice? No, you always want to get bonus dice. They're good for you. But of course, sand loss represents one of the most fun, slippery slope arguments in Cthulhu history, because as you go up in sand loss, yes, up in sand loss, not down. As you lose sanity, you go up in sand loss and you hit these points. Remember these points we're talking about? These are where you get, where your madness goes off and this crazy thing happens that you have to try to play around. But the further up you go, look at this, you get bonus dice on every action. The more powerful you get, the more madness you get, the more powerful you get. Or is it the other way around? We don't know. It's the Lovecraft universe. Of course, once you've got full sand loss, you're toast. You're out of there. So, of course, the perfect way to play, if you want to play the most optimal way, is to be at maximum sand loss. But you'll be at your highest power, but a single point of sanity loss, bye-bye. I love games like that, right? That you're just riding that razor's edge. All right. This is, pardon my extreme grace here. I am not a professional product opener. I hope to be one in future life. Dear goodness. All right, sand loss. All right, here's some Bayaki, of course. Look at these guys. They are pretty fly, if I do say so myself. All right. Of course, we got some rawr. Oh, of course. What am I talking about? These are the Bayaki. These are the these are hunting hordes. So one of the cool thing. Adrian Smith has, who is of course the lead artist of Death May Die. He did the monsters, where Karl Kopinski did the investigators. Adrian Smith has his own twisted interpretation of the mythos, and one of the things we wanted to do was make sure that inside Death May Die we actually had our very own take on this. So don't expect that everything you've read about Lovecraft to hold completely true when you're playing this game. This is a CMON game with its own new story and its own new take on it. You'll recognize some of the tropes, but we have a lot of new twists in there for you as well. Cultists, of course. I mean, how can you have a Cthulhu game without cultists? They're very, very smart because they're reading a book. And I won't spoil too many of the other episodes. Here are some deep ones in here. And so the point, of course, of the game is you open everything up, and boxing and reboxing the game. Reboxing game is almost as fun as unboxing, especially if you're like me and you like everything in nice little orderly bits. When you've finished playing your episode, you just put everything back in the box. You just put it in there, and then it's almost like you've set yourself up a Christmas present to play next time. You're almost done with me. I just have one more thing to show you, which I'm searching for. There it is. What's a Cthulhu game without tentacles? In 5 different player colors. Of course, we use tentacles to keep track of all important things on your character sheet. Now I've buried everything here, but you keep track of your sanity, you keep track of your 3 skills, you keep track of your health, your life. Everything's tentacles because it's Cthulhu. Anyway, this is Death May Die. Thank you for watching me unbox this. I had a blast. I really hope you guys enjoyed playing this game as much as we did designing it. I'm actually looking forward to playing it. Don't start with episode 6. Start with episode 1. Trust me, the whole place starts on fire. If you think, even if you're all like, oh, I can play the hardest game, just start with episode 1. You're still gonna lose. Trust me. Bye all.